Okay guys, this video gets a little personal, maybe halfway through, so I kind of pour my heart out. Please do not be alarmed. I like to think I gather it up all safely and such, but let me explain the thing about social media. It's data and privacy and safety. Like, the more of you there is, the more there is to know. If you put out more and more and more shit, then there's just so much that people know that makes them either want to get closer or further away from you. And the more they do know, the closer or further they are, depending on what it is and how strongly they feel about it. May actually change the direction after some time. But the more they know, the more they realize there is to know. The more of you there is, the harder it becomes to protect your privacy. There's a book about privacy by a security guy, consultant named Kevin Mitnick, who originally was a hacker until his high-profile 1995 arrest, which resulted in 5 years of prison. It's called The Art of Invisibility. It's about how to be safe in the age of Big Brother and Big Data. I thought it was pretty cool, something different. If you're used to getting the books I'm always recommending on here, I'll link that in the description if you guys want to check it out. It's a dense book, there's a lot of technical shit in there, and if you don't know anything about that shit, you're guaranteed to learn something new and or interesting. But something I learned is that they did a study on this, I think at Stanford or Harvard or some big university, but hackers can apparently find your social security number using one of your pictures on Facebook alone. That's how vulnerable we make ourselves on social media. Now, hacking alone is probably something a person would need to be passionate about for some weird reason if they were to do something like that. But the bigger you get, the more general audience you seem to attract. Like, say you're a celebrity. You probably have fans, like if you're Drake or Ariana Grande. You might have like 10 or so fans who are really into hacking. And if someone tries to get your Instagram password and they succeed, then maybe your fans are gonna somehow know it's happening and come to rescue you. Especially in the future, doing things like this for celebrities, I'm pretty sure is gonna somehow become normal. But they'll hack the hacker who hacked your Instagram account and somehow get back all those pictures that they deleted and give them to you and be like, bro, here, repost these and keep doing your thing. These are things that I just imagine happening for some weird reason. But they're so much more enticing to make happen if you know a lot about shit like this and you feel very strongly about the merits of what these celebrities or just very high profile public figures are preaching to influence the public in a direction that they see as important. And as this spirals out of control, people like Mark Zuckerberg are being put in front of the Senate and Congress, those types of crowds, because of how seriously we need to start taking the privacy of our data that we put out. I'm gonna confess something here. Sometimes people are like, you need to make a music video, you need to do this, you need to get a Snapchat. When I was in elementary school, I would cry on picture day because I was so scared of having to smile in front of a camera and have it documented on a sheet of paper, a computer, and a book. I think that had to do with the smile not being genuine or something. Like, I'm smiling for a camera. I'm not smiling because I'm actually happy. I didn't know what happiness was. I was just a fucking 7-year-old boy, okay? When smartphones blew up, that fear did too. And a bit of my depression around age 16, 17 was based on that. Knowing that if I'm doing something interesting and I'm around my friends, they have a bunch of friends who they are going to send it to on Snapchat without my permission. Like, it's just implied that it's somehow okay to document these things as they happen. That really fucked with my head. It really did. It fucked me up. There's a deal of trauma behind the lack of consent on things like this, just to me. To this day, I understand that's irrational. I do. If someone does it, I'm probably not gonna say anything. I'm probably not gonna have a nervous breakdown and start crying. I haven't cried in like 4 years, so I rationally understand that. But physiologically, I don't. Because it's so deeply planted into the way I'm looking at things. If I'm rapping a verse or something and someone takes out their phone, a cappella, of course, especially, my legs begin to shake a little bit more than normal. Even if I'm sitting down, and getting over that and continuing is harder than most things for me. And that's so weird, abstractly. Like, dude, it's a fucking black piece of metal, plastic with a circle that takes photos and shows them to people via internet connection. But it's really strange to me instinctively, like showing people my teeth when I smile for a picture. I'm not gonna lie, it scares me. But I'll do it anyway. I'll try things that kind of scare me a little. I used to be scared as fuck of taking selfies, of all things. Now, I have 8,000 followers on Instagram and a very active account. I used to be scared of looking at camera lenses, let alone talking to them, especially in public. But now, I'm posting 2 videos a week of me doing that, at least in private, because I know that as long as things are progressing in this economy, it's important for me to progress too, in as many similar ways as I possibly can. And ideally, that leads me to the solution of this madness, which is where I think the powers that be, supposedly, want us to walk into, or perhaps out to, not in a bad way, rather a way that's publicly acceptable, like one that we can all agree on, like heroin addiction. Like maybe not the way of solving it, but at least like the way people look at it. Like I feel like it's a general consensus that nobody consciously wants anybody to die of heroin overdose. And I know for some reason so many things could be said about and against that statement alone, but it's just something that we all kind of think of morally. Like, okay, it's not fair that this 13-year-old kid is being shot 120 times in the throat for breathing and standing and looking in the mirror at the same time during gym class. Not high, no weird text on his phone, absolutely nothing. Like the innocence is clear as fucking day. That type of stuff. People are always gonna find some way around this and those things, but by this period, that skepticism will be reduced to a minimum. Or maybe if we're thorough enough in the operation, it will be reduced to 0. What I like to call the bitch number. This is gonna be a time and place where people are ideally just gonna be able to trust each other because people are people. Like you'll trust a person just because. If you look at how millennials are being raised and you look at the upsides and then you look at their children and how they're being raised and those upsides and you look closely enough at all the nuances and shit and you add them all up, you will notice how deeply some of us feel about opening ourselves up to the world and living lives of morals and virtue and goodness. No matter what we might feel or say in times of emergency, like that's okay. We still somehow respect each other and understand. And we know that nobody's perfect. We're all just doing what we can. It's an economy of trust, and weirdly enough, I feel like we're closer to that than ever. Maybe in sometimes some places of history we were closer, but right now, globally speaking, like I say in my song Fan, which I'll link in the description if anyone wants to hear it, I think that we are on the cusp of something greater than ourselves. And I think it's something beautiful. You guys have anything else you want me to talk about in future videos, please let me know in the comments below and I will shout you out if and when I use them. If you have any questions, please feel free to hit me up. There are links at the bottom of the description to all my social media. I made all the beats in this video. If you want to use them, you can find them at samuel.world. Make sure to leave a like if you like it, subscribe if you haven't already. If you could turn on that little bell to receive a notification every time I drop a new video, that would mean the world to me. Thank you guys so much for watching. You can find me everywhere and I will see you then.